January 7th meeting of the Bucksport Planning Board to order. Roll call.
Steve Bishop.
Here.
Brian McDonald.
Here.
David Grant.
Present.
Steve Fight is absent. Edward Belcher.
Here.
George Hansen.
Here.
Jay Dubrow.
Here. Review and acceptance of minutes from the November 5th, 2019 meeting.
Motion to accept as drafted.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Chair report. There is no chair report. Code enforcement officers report.
I don't have anything to report tonight, I don't think.
Limited public forum. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on matters related to land use or planning in the town of Bucksport, typically not on the agenda for the evening. At this time, if anybody would like to speak, I'll open up the limited public forum.
Is this me? I think I'm on the
Okay.
agenda.
Seeing none, I'll close the limited public forum. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, application to amend and approve subdivision plan, which is Buck Estates. The applicant is Sheila Gallagher.
So, I don't know if we have everything we need to have in order to make this happen tonight. I'm hoping we do. But this is something that actually goes back quite a long time. The previous owner, I can't remember his name now, but he's passed away.
Paul Dominkovich.
That would be him. He wanted to get this done years ago, and him and the neighbor hired a lawyer, and the lawyer evaluated the situation to figure out, and his determination was that the land technically should be like a 50-50 split to the abutting property owners because the road was never built. The one caveat to that was he had said that Buck Estates could, in theory, have a legal claim to that, but Buck Estates has since dissolved, so they no longer exist, and the town has no intention of making this road, so that's why we're here tonight, to try and finally resolve this. Now the road itself, on the right spot here we go. Forsyth Avenue comes up here, and as you can see, Miss Gallagher's driveway is right where the extension would have been. I don't know why they put
right at the moment, her driveway is on the front lot. There was a rear lot to that too, that this right away goes up through.
Yes,
So it's
but she owns
it's
both.
about 400 feet.
Yes, yep, it
Section.
goes all the way to Woodland Heights here.
Correct.
But she owns both these lots, and Miss Chase owns both these lots.
Yeah, that's common.
So, what's that? Right, but those two are the two in question. So it's really just these two property owners, even though it's
Correct.
multiple lots. Why that driveway was built there, I don't know. Certainly doesn't seem like it was necessary, but that's what they did. So that's the situation.
There are no utilities on that section of it.
There's
Right.
no utilities.
No.
So this would be the proposed. However, this shows that Miss Gallagher gets half and Miss Chase gets half, and Miss Chase is here tonight, but she also, I have a letter here signed by her saying that she doesn't care to have her half. She'd like to let Sheila Gallagher have it all.
Well,
And that's why I'm doing the
Well,
amendment.
if the driveway is built in the center of the right-of-way, then the existing driveway is on both those
Right,
pieces.
it is. It is.
So,
Well, that's very
in
nice.
order to fix that, she'd like to have the whole thing, and Ms. Chase has agreed to that, so it's just up to us to approve it. And then-
Okay, then you get rid of that middle line.
Correct,
Yeah.
exactly. So they would have to have, if we approve it, she'd have to have a surveyor write up a description, and I think she has a description, it might need to be adjusted.
It's pretty well right there, you've got it in your hand.
Right, but they need the legal description too, but you have that, right?
Well, you got the meets and
I
bounds
think
right there in your
Send it
hand.
to you guys, yeah. So, she'd have to have a real estate lawyer write up a new deed and whatnot, but.
Now, would that become part of, would that whole section become part of those extensions of those two lots, or would that be a separate piece in and of itself?
It would become part of lot 38 and 46.
Okay.
So, who's the grantor in this case?
Have to be
Well,
passed.
Miss Chase is to Miss Gallagher.
Who's the grantee? I'm wondering, who has titled that I mean,
Well, according to
We all know.
the legal minds, it's 50-50, half for each of them. And Miss
Oh, okay.
Chase is willing to give up her half to Miss Gallagher, so Miss Chase is the grantor and Miss Gallagher is the grantee.
So
Who's the
this,
original grantor?
Well,
If it creates a problem for you, I can take that half and then sell it to her for $1. Why bother?
We're gonna try to make it easier than
No,
that.
I don't think.
Has
that we
this
can
already
resort to
happened?
that.
no.
no.
No, it
so,
was discussed last time with the.
was this what we,
Rayos one.
okay, so the,
Are you looking at the proposal?
Yeah, if you'd step up here, so in front of mine.
I purchased the property in April of 2015. For my own comfort, I had a surveyor come in and survey it. I knew that it was called a paper road at the time I purchased the home.
Yeah.
Some concerns came up after I purchased it, like, oh my God, someone really could put a road through here. And that's when Mr. Chase supplied me with some paperwork and stuff. So when I had my property surveyed with this in mind, if I'm gonna pay my surveyor, I'm like, can you just put a proposed one on here at the time?
Right.
Kind of planning ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Bucks Estate had dissolved in that time period. But I was just planning ahead. That's why you have a proposed copy.
thank you.
Well done.
So who, as George is asking, who owns that
Right away.
driveway right now?
They do. The two of them.
Oh, the driveway?
No.
Right.
Technically, they both own half.
Right.
So that split, that deed, that each getting half
That's the current.
has
status.
already happened.
Yes.
Basically, yes.
That's the current status now.
That's what they want us to approve.
Hmm.
That split.
Mhm.
Well, no, because she
No.
wants to get all to Miss Gallagher.
Well,
Well, that's between
the
the two.
real
of them.
issue is that property was a paper street, so it was owned by whoever developed the property, because the town doesn't gain ownership until the road is built and they accept it.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's what I'm kind
Does the
of seconding your
dissolution-
question.
Yeah.
Who is the grantor? Because this hasn't even happened yet. This is still a proposed.
So at
Still
the
proposed road.
At the time that Paul
Tom and
Thank
Kovich,
you.
yeah.
and Richard Chase hired a lawyer to look into this back in '06, and he's got a long thing here where he puts out all the details, but in the end, he said, while the record owner of this land may still be Buck Estates under those statutes, each of you own to the center line, subject to the easement rights of the other.
Mhm.
Because it was not constructed and accepted by '97, therefore the incipient dedication rights of the public are deemed vacated under section 3032 of the state law.
So it is divided, it is equally split right now.
That's what the state law says.
What's the rights of the, it says the rights to the public is what? In the town, well, I don't know, isn't the town the public or?
Yeah, the public is the town, so
So their rights are voided, it said?
yes, because we didn't put the street in
time.
time, so I guess this whole paper street thing was a real issue, and so the state finally dealt with it in the late '90s and said if it wasn't taken care of within so many years at this point, then it gets deeded over. I've got that law here too, I printed that out. Deemed vacant.
Buck Estates was still in effect at that time, correct? The time that
At
Um,
'06, it
um,
was.
Now, that section of the development was developed by Joe Buck. Buck Estates wasn't established until 87?
Yeah, it was the Buck Housing
It was
Development, I think.
Joe Buck owned the property.
Yeah,
He's passed away, and his son Eddie owned it.
and
He
he sold it to Buck
Buck
Estates.
Estates, which is a group of 5 people
Right.
I work for. And the house that's in Buck Estates, mine, was the first house in that section of the development. It was a spec home. But my mother's house is next to yours. The little boy and, hmm.
So this 3032 law says that a proposed unaccepted way or portion of a proposed unaccepted way laid out on a subdivision plan that was recorded in the registry of deeds prior to September 29th, 1987 is deemed to have been subject to an order of vacation under section 3027 if
Yeah.
by the later of 15 years after that date both of the following conditions have been met. The way or the portion of the way has not been constructed or used, and the way or the portion of the way has not been accepted as a town, county, or state highway, or as a public utility or recreational easement.
Yeah.
Both of those are the case, so therefore it's.
Yeah.
So there's no trustee or anything left over from Buck Estates when that was dissolved?
Dissolved.
It's just, and we just can't
Right.
accidentally give somebody else's land away. That's my main concern.
Well, when Buck was giving it away when they dissolved,
Well, and that, what you read previously to what you just
Yeah,
read
it was
said that it went to the center line of the two of their lots in the event that it went past the time frame, and it did, so. That makes sense. Now, who has been paying the taxes on that portion of land? There's been no taxes paid on it at all on
Correct.
that portion? Okay, all right.
No.
All right.
So is Ms. Gallagher going to receive a letter in the mail from the town saying, hey,
Yes. Well, I mean, the acreage will be adjusted. I don't imagine that'll amount to much, but yes.
It'd be
Well,
point
value of
four-
those lots up there,
0.46
I know, I
acres,
pay tax out of it, gone nuts.
according to this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
oh, half an acre? That's a house.
yeah, the two of them together will be just under half
laid-
an acre.
Laid out quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
For 20 years, right?
How long have they occupied the driveway in that location?
My mother's house was built 1969, and it's next to that one.
So you could almost say it belongs to them by prescription if they've occupied it,
For so long.
Oh, yeah, well before Buck
Occupied.
Estates even existed.
piece of property that long.
Yeah,
So if we
Not
wanted to approve it,
hostilely,
well,
but
can we
Right.
just vote?
Commonly
and
used
approve it, or is
Right.
there,
yeah.
any more, I can't see there's any more research that could get.
No, I see no issues.
No.
Yeah.
I see no issues.
I don't see what more
And-
information we could gather other than what Luke has read us already.
And this line goes right down the middle of that driveway?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Theoretically,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so
That's what
if that driveway's been in for X
Since
amount of
before
years.
'06, I don't know, do you know when that went in?
Has the driveway always been there?
Yes, it's always been there. We've been there to 3 other families that live there and begged to have that done.
Yeah.
And Roger Raymond called me before he left, and he said, the lawyer's sending the papers up. When he comes, go up to the lawyer's house, and you can sign the papers, and then they'll be all done.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that. The papers, I don't know where they went, but they're
Who
on the way
knows?
from the lawyers to the lawyer.
Probably went with Roger.
Well, what can we do as a board to make it happen?
Well, I think we just have to approve the amendment to the subdivision, cause it is changing a property line of the subdivision. By giving part of Miss Chase's lot to Miss Gallagher, you're changing a lot line, and that's an amendment. Silly, I know, but that's the law, so.
I would like that motion.
I make I second the motion, we approve the amendment to the subdivision.
Any further discussion? Is there any other paperwork we need to do to make an amendment to a subdivision?
Well, the one thing I didn't know was, do we need a drawing to sign? Because these little sketches that are stamped and everything, they don't have a block for a planning board signature.
Well, that would have to be recorded, correct? This change, so I think
Yeah.
we would probably have to have,
Who's the surveyor?
Said it was
Patrick Downey? I don't know him.
Yeah. So he would probably be the guy that
He's out of Ellsworth, I guess. So, yeah, I
is
think
still
we need to.
alive.
I guess we could approve it conditional on getting the correct documentation
Yeah.
that she will need to get it
Of the survey.
recorded.
Are both parties using the driveway?
No,
No.
just Miss
So
Gallagher.
only,
I don't understand, I
Mrs.
don't hear
Gallagher?
a word you're saying.
He's asking
Chase
if you
driveway
also
is
use the
down.
driveway, my
Yeah.
driveway.
No, we have a row of trees at the edge of our property, and then her property, as far as we're concerned, is on the other side of the trees.
See
Just
the-
like on the other side,
The trees she's talking about are right
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and this is her driveway down here, this is Mrs.
it's
Chase's
the same way
driveway.
on the other side. and
it
then
might,
we don't have
might make sense to
driveway
get
on
a,
Okay.
just
No,
a
thank
one
you.
lot
We have a driveway that goes.
conveyance to
Yeah.
her.
I just wanna make sure it has
Yeah,
the
he's-
signature
he's
block
showing
and has
it
the
on
stuff,
the
cause
map,
remember
right?
the last time, and that was Pliskin Day, but they didn't have everything on there and the registry wouldn't record it, so.
No. Yeah.
But I think we could sign that at the next meeting and.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better, cleaner though, if we didn't have this split in it.
Yes,
It's
Yeah.
all
proper
gonna go-
drawing.
It's all gonna go to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Proper drawing and.
It's the same piece of property.
So we
that
can-
we just go
Yeah.
with.
Conditionally, we could.
Can we, so are we okay with approving that conditionally with those conditions?
Yes.
All right. All in favor? Done.
Can I ask someone a question?
Yeah,
So my job now is to have my surveyor come and rewrite it to include both parts, and then get that back to you?
He will walk you through everything you need to
Okay.
do
Yeah.
later.
Good.
yeah, I'll talk with you
Yep.
about it.
Are you gonna be offended if you leave now?
Not at all.
I thank you very much, though.
No.
It's been very pleasant. You wanna stay and listen, and you were all set, we're all set?
I'm not hearing very well, so.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
congratulations, it was many, many years coming,
Good.
many years.
Well, I'm glad we could get it done
We
for you.
did the lawyers, we spent a lot of money on this,
Yeah.
so now you can collect.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be glad to pay my taxes. One year, my first year I was here, I was the first one to pay them.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you.
Good night and thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right.
All right then. Administrative business, election of chair and secretary for 2020.
I would like to ask, Mr. Chairman, if you're so nominated, would you be willing to accept an election for another year as the chairman of the planning board?
You might not even get a chance.
Yeah, if you keep.
And I would ask Mr. Secretary the same question, but he's not here.
Well, he's not, I don't think he was here last year either, so we
So-
elected him in
Yeah.
in
I would
abstention.
put forth a motion that Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary be elected to serve another year at their terms.
I second that motion.
Any
I know his-
discussion?
I know his.
Do you want
wife-
it?
No. I know his wife was very happy to,
he really is excited about doing the planning board.
Well, oh, Steve?
Yeah.
Well, he is actually stuck tonight down in Ellsworth at a planning commission
Yeah,
meeting. Commission, yeah, he's the commissioner or something, right? So,
Something.
all right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Like a pirate.
I will abstain.
You
We
abstain?
spent too much time doing that, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for myself.
I've
This
got
is
one
the
other
Trump
piece of
route.
administrative
This is the
business.
Trump
Okay.
route.
Bishop and DuRoss and Brian have all signed, but I need you guys to sign.
We just signed that.
Oh, you
What?
already have it.
That one you get to keep.
I don't want.
This one has to go back
Yeah.
in.
This one?
You gotta sign it and get it back in.
Sexual
I don't know.
harassment.
You gotta sign it and
Signing
say you
off.
won't sexually harass anybody.
Every year it has to be done.
Mine will be,
We did about a year ago this time.
Yeah.
mine will be on file with
I'm
you.
Yeah,
not-
I don't need one from you.
Oh, okay.
Did you have, did
So
you
we
sign
need to
yours?
keep
I did.
the first-
I haven't got
Yes.
enough, I haven't got enough energy to sexually harass anybody.
Got enough energy.
And you can keep that one too. That one needs to be signed and given back to Lou.
Oh, okay.
That's an acknowledgement.
Anything else?
No?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?